Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note.
You won't get no dessert till you clean off your plate, so eat it. Don't you tell me you're full.
Boom, boom, acca-lacca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca, boom, boom.
The 1980s were weird. Synthesizers everywhere, hair was big, and sometimes the biggest hits came from the strangest places. Songs that were never meant to be taken seriously. Parodies, gimmicks, and outright jokes that somehow connected with millions of people around the world. These weren't songs crafted by hitmakers trying to top the charts. They were accidents, experiments, jokes that got out of hand, and somehow they became anthems. Here are 10 joke songs from the 80s that became global hits. Starting with number 10, Shaddap You Face.
When I was a boy, just about the 8th grade, Mama used to say,
In 1981, Joe Dolce was an American-born comedian living in Melbourne, Australia. He'd been performing in small clubs for years, doing ethnic comedy routines based on his Italian-American childhood in Ohio. One of his bits was an exaggerated Italian immigrant character. A silly voice, broken English, and a simple catchphrase, "What's a matter, you?" He recorded it almost as an afterthought, just a quick novelty track for local audiences.
What's the matter, you? Hey, gotta no respect. What do you think you do?
But something about that phrase, that infectious, ridiculous chorus, it resonated. The song shot to number 1 in Australia within weeks, then the UK, then Germany, France, and Austria. It topped charts in 15 different countries.
It's a not so bad. It's a nicer place. Ah, shut up in your face. That's my mama.
The song sold over 6 million copies worldwide. 6 million. For a comedy sketch that was never supposed to leave Melbourne, Joe Dolce went from unknown club comic to international star overnight.
Soon come a day, gonna be a big star. Then they make TV shows and the movies.
But here's the painful part. In the UK, this joke song held the number 1 spot for 3 straight weeks. And the song it blocked from reaching number 1? Vienna by Ultravox. A sweeping, emotional synth-pop masterpiece that's still considered one of the greatest songs of the decade. It peaked at number 2. Ultravox fans have never forgiven Joe Dolce.
Alone in the night as the daylight brings a cool empty silence.
A comedy sketch meant for a small club audience became one of the best-selling singles of 1981 and created one of music's longest-running grudges. Number 9. Pac-Man Fever. In 1981, Jerry Buckner and Gary Garcia were session musicians in Atlanta. One night, they stopped at a restaurant in Marietta, Georgia. There was a Pac-Man machine in the corner. They spent 2 hours playing it. That night, Buckner couldn't sleep. The sounds kept playing in his head. The waka waka of Pac-Man eating dots. The ghost sirens. He thought, what if we wrote a song about this? They recorded the track with actual Pac-Man sound effects. No record label wanted it. Too weird, they said. Too niche. But a local Atlanta radio station played it anyway. The phones exploded. CBS Records signed them immediately, but they wanted more. They demanded an entire album of video game songs. Buckner and Garcia had just 10 days to write and record 8 more tracks about games like Donkey Kong, Frogger, and Centipede. The song reached number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1982, right at the peak of arcade mania in America. It sold over 2.5 million copies. For a song about a video game that was unheard of. Buckner and Garcia even performed on American Bandstand on March 20th, 1982. For the millions of kids who spent their afternoons pumping quarters into machines in dark arcades, this wasn't a novelty song, this was their anthem. Number 8. The Safety Dance. That synth riff, you heard it once in 1983 and it never left your brain. But this song wasn't written to be a dance anthem. It was written out of pure frustration.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
Ivan Doroschuk was the frontman of Men Without Hats, a Canadian new wave band from Montreal. One night in Ottawa, he was at a punk club dancing to the B-52s. He was pogoing, that jumping up and down dance that punk fans loved. The bouncers grabbed him and threw him out. Too dangerous, they said. Someone might get hurt. Doroschuk was furious. Who were these bouncers to tell him how to dance? He went home and wrote a protest song, a defiant anthem against anyone who tried to control how you moved your body.
We can dance if we want to. We've got all your life in mind.
The song's title came from the irony, safety dance, as if there was something dangerous about dancing. The whole thing was sarcastic, a middle finger to club bouncers everywhere.
Leave your friends behind, because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, they're no friends.
Nobody expected this weird protest song to become massive, but it climbed to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 1 in countries like Denmark, Portugal, and South Africa. The music video became legendary, shot in a medieval English village with a dwarf jester, peasant costumes, and Renaissance imagery. It was bizarre, it was unforgettable, and MTV played it constantly.
We can dance, everything's out of control. We can dance.
Number 7. 867-5309/Jenny. Songwriter Alex Call was sitting in his backyard one afternoon, strumming his guitar and looking for inspiration. He needed a phone number for a song, something catchy. He just made one up. 867-5309. The name Jenny came just as randomly. The song was simple. A guy sees a girl's number scrawled on a bathroom wall and works up the courage to call her. Classic boy meets number story. Tommy Tutone recorded the track. It hit number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1982 and stayed on the charts for an incredible 40 weeks. And then, the chaos started.
Danny, I got your number. I need to make you mine.
Across America, anyone whose phone number happened to be 867-5309 started getting flooded with calls. Thousands of calls. People asking for Jenny, prank calls. Love-struck teenagers trying the number in their own area code just to see what would happen. Radio station WLS in Chicago acquired the number as a promotional stunt. They received 22,000 calls in just 4 days. Some people with the number sued. Others paid to have it changed. Phone companies had to offer special rates. Tommy Tutone became one-hit wonders, but that phone number became immortal. Even today, it's one of the most recognized sequences of digits in American culture. Some businesses have even fought to own it as a vanity number. Number 6. Walk the Dinosaur. Was one of the weirdest bands to come out of Detroit. They were a collective of musicians, artists, and eccentrics who refused to do anything normal. Their songs mixed funk, rock, and absurdist humor. So when co-writer Randy Jacobs suggested they write a dance song about the extinction of dinosaurs, nobody in the band blinked. Of course they would. Why not?
Boom, boom, acca-lacca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca, boom, 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 acca-lacca-lacca, boom.
But here's what most people missed. The song wasn't really about dinosaurs. According to the band, it was actually about nuclear annihilation. The lyrics reference the boom and when things got hot, code for nuclear war. The music video featured cave women dancing in leopard print. MTV loved it. Nobody cared about the deeper meaning. They just wanted to do the dance. It reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100.
I walk the dinosaur. I walk the dinosaur.
Don Was, the band's co-founder, later said the pop success alienated their real fan base, but the song kept finding new life. It appeared in the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie, the 1994 Flintstones film, and even Ice Age 3 in 2009. What started as an art rock joke about extinction became one of the most enduring party songs of the decade and one of the most requested songs at wedding receptions.
Get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur.
dinosaur. Open the door, get on the floor.
Number 5. Rock Me Amadeus. In 1984, a little film called Amadeus swept the Academy Awards. It portrayed Mozart as a giggling, irreverent genius, a rock star trapped in the 18th century. Austrian musician Falco watched it and had a thought. What if Mozart really had been born in the 20th century? What if the greatest composer who ever lived was actually a punk, a superstar, a wild genius who burned too bright and died too young? Falco wrote the song partly in German, partly in English. It described Mozart as a rock star before there was rock, and drew parallels between Mozart's wild life and modern celebrity excess. Record executives were skeptical. A German-language rap about a dead classical composer? Americans would never buy it. The last German song to hit #1 in America was in 1959.
Das war in Wien, war Vienna, wo alles tat. Hatte Schulden, der Natur, doch ihn liebten alle Frauen und jede...
They were spectacularly wrong. Rock Me Amadeus hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on March 29, 1986. It also topped charts in the UK, making Falco the first Austrian act ever to achieve that. A joke about Mozart was playing everywhere from Times Square to Tokyo. Sadly, Falco's story ended tragically. He died in 1998 in a car accident in the Dominican Republic, but his absurd tribute to Mozart lives on. Number 4. The Future's So Bright, I Gotta Wear Shades. Pat and Barbara McDonald were a husband and wife duo from Austin, Texas. They performed as Timbuk 3, playing quirky folk rock with a boombox providing their backing tracks. In 1986, Barbara made an offhand comment. She said the future looked so bright, they'd need to wear sunglasses. Pat heard it differently. He heard irony. He wrote a song. The song was everywhere that year. Graduation parties, car commercials, motivational speeches. It became the anthem of Reagan-era optimism. Young America was going places, and the future was blindingly bright.
Future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
There was just one problem. Pat McDonald was horrified. Nobody understood the song. The narrator wasn't an optimistic graduate. He was a nuclear science student. The bright future wasn't success. It was the blinding flash of an atomic bomb. The sunglasses were for the nuclear blast. All those lyrics about studying nuclear science, about having a job waiting, it was satire about the arms race. A dark joke about mutually assured destruction dressed up as a cheerful pop song.
I study nuclear science. I love my classes. I got a crazy teacher. He wears dark.
Major companies came calling. AT&T offered $900,000 to license the song. Ford wanted it. Ray-Ban wanted it. Even the US Army wanted it. Pat and Barbara turned them all down. For decades, people have sung along to this song at graduations, completely missing that they're celebrating the apocalypse. Number 3. Mickey. Toni Basil wasn't supposed to be a pop star. She was a choreographer. By 1982, she'd spent 20 years behind the scenes, creating dance moves for Elvis Presley, David Bowie, and the Talking Heads. She was also 38 years old. In the early 80s music industry, that was ancient for a female pop star. Women were supposed to be young, pretty, and disposable. Basil was none of those things. She was a veteran. The song wasn't even originally hers. It started as Kitty, a 1979 track by British band Racy, written about a girl. Basil had a different idea. She flipped the gender, changed the name to Mickey, and added something unexpected: cheerleader chants. She'd spent time studying actual high school cheering squads. Fascinated by their energy and precision, she wove their rhythms into the song, turning a simple pop track into something unforgettable. For the video, Basil went all in. She didn't just dress as a cheerleader, she wore her actual cheerleader uniform from Las Vegas High School, class of 1961. 20 years later, it still fit. She directed the video herself, she produced it, she choreographed every move, and on December 11, 1982, Mickey hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. A 38-year-old choreographer had created the catchiest cheerleader anthem in history. The song sold over 2 million copies in America alone. It's been featured in countless movies and TV shows, and it earned a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a groundbreaking single of the 1980s. Number 2. Eat It. By 1983, Michael Jackson's Beat It was everywhere, a groundbreaking rock crossover hit with a message about ending gang violence. Eddie Van Halen's guitar solo was legendary. The song was untouchable. Enter Al Yankovic, a curly-haired accordion player from California who'd been making song parodies since he was a teenager. He had one question: what if this epic statement about gang violence was actually about food? There was a problem. You can't just parody anyone's song. Yankovic needed permission from Michael Jackson himself. He sent a request through the label and waited. Jackson said yes. Not only that, he loved the idea. He reportedly asked if Yankovic was going to do a video too. When told yes, Jackson laughed and gave his full blessing.
Eat it, just eat it. Don't wanna argue, I don't wanna.
The video was a shot-for-shot recreation of Beat It, the red leather jacket, the pool hall confrontation, the gang knife fight, all of it, but about refusing to eat your dinner. Some of the same dancers from the original even appeared. Eat It reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. For a parody song, that was unprecedented. It even won the Grammy for Best Comedy Recording in 1984, beating established comedy legends.
You clean off your plate, so eat it. Don't you tell me you're full, just eat it.
And number 1, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Bobby McFerrin was not your typical pop star. He was a classically trained jazz vocalist, a graduate of Juilliard, a serious musician who could improvise entire symphonies using nothing but his voice. In 1988, he visited the San Francisco apartment of jazz duo Tuck and Patty. On their wall was a poster with a simple phrase from Indian spiritual guru Meher Baba: "Don't worry, be happy." McFerrin was captivated by the simplicity. 4 words, an entire philosophy. He went into the studio and recorded something unlike anything before. A song with no instruments, none, just layers of his own voice. Every sound you hear, the bass line, the percussion, the harmonies, the finger snaps, it's all Bobby McFerrin. He recorded each part separately, building the song layer by layer like a one-man choir.
Don't worry, be happy.
The song wasn't even supposed to be a single. It was included on the soundtrack for the Tom Cruise movie Cocktail, almost as an afterthought. Nobody expected it to break out, but something happened. People connected with it. Not as a novelty, not as a gimmick, but genuinely, emotionally. The simplicity of the message, delivered through such incredible artistry, it resonated across cultures and generations. It hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on September 24, 1988. It won 3 Grammys, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best Male Pop Vocal. It was the first a cappella song to ever reach number 1 in chart history. Then things got political. George H.W. Bush used the song in his 1988 presidential campaign without permission. McFerrin, a Democrat, publicly protested and endorsed Michael Dukakis. The Bush campaign stopped using it, but the song transcended politics. It transcended novelty. A song made entirely from one man's voice became the sound of an entire year. And 40 years later, it's still the first song people think of when they need to smile. 10 songs that nobody expected to matter. 10 songs that prove the most memorable music often comes from the most unexpected places. They're still playing today, at weddings, at parties, on classic rock stations, reminding us that in the 1980s, anything could become a hit if it made people feel something. If this brought back memories, hit that like button and subscribe. And let us know in the comments which one of these still gets stuck in your head.